let me go back to the book. David writes, a devil's advocate might now ask, if majority voting among apportionment rules is such a bad idea, why is majority voting among voters a good idea? It will be disastrous to use it and say science. There are more astrologers than astronomers, and believers in paranormal phenomena often point out that purported witnesses of such phenomena outnumber the witnesses of most scientific experiments by a large factor. So they demand proportionate credence. Yet science refuses to judge evidence in that way. It sticks with the criterion of good explanation. So if it would be wrong for science to adopt that democratic principle, why is it right for politics? Pause there, Mike. So for my listeners and viewers that might be new to some of these ideas, there is in the public mind, it would seem, an idea of scientific consensus. Now, to some extent, this has validity. Now, there is a sense in which the consensus of the scientists has some validity. And it's when a layperson is trying to decide what is scientific knowledge at any particular time. So, given a particular area that is not your area of expertise, a good rule of thumb is to presume that whatever the scientific consensus is among the experts in that area is the best theory or the best explanation at a given time. That doesn't mean that it's true, it just means that that's the best explanation we have, and we should take seriously the best explanations that we have at any particular time. But scientific consensus is not the way we adjudicate between theories, not in science. Clearly, every single good scientific theory was once a minority view, was once understood only by a single mind or a small team of people, more than likely only a single mind at any particular time. So, once upon a time, the theory of general relativity was only understood by Albert Einstein and no one else. So he had an exceedingly minority view. But we don't take a vote among scientists to decide what is true in physics. We let the theories compete one against the other, and the competition is in light of a crucial experiment. That's in fact the way in which we decide between theories of gravity, let's say, which is what happened back in 1919 with Eddington's experiment, which decided between Albert Einstein's general theory of relativity and Newton's universal law of gravitation. Now that's a trope example, but the same is true of any other area of science where there are competing theories, competing explanations as to what accounts for the phenomena in question. But it is not a vote among scientists that decides things. It is experiment that decides. It is observation that decides between theories. It is the evidence that decides between theories. But people who perhaps don't understand science, let's say astrologers, there's more astrologers than astronomers. There's more people that believe they have an understanding of astrology than would say they have an understanding of astronomy, or even an interesting one compared to the other. But we don't therefore conclude on that basis that the majority should hold sway, that therefore astrologers should be funded by government institutions, let's say. But we do fund astronomers, not because there's more of one than the other, but because there are objective ways of measuring or comparing the theories of one subject against reality that aren't available in the other. Although there are certain ways of measuring astrology against reality, but they typically come up bad for astrology. Whatever the case, if we can appreciate the fact that democratic voting is not the rational means by which we come to gain truth or gain better explanations in the area of science, why should democratic votes be the best way of deciding what is best, what is the truer moral choice to make in the sphere of politics? Why is democratic vote good in one area and not in the other? Let me just reread what David said here. So if it would be wrong for science to adopt that democratic principle, why is it right for politics? Is it just because, as Churchill put it, many forms of government have been tried and will be tried in this world of sin and woe. No one pretends that democracy is perfect or all-wise. Indeed, it has been said that democracy is the worst form of government except for all those others that have been tried from time to time. That would indeed be a sufficient reason, but there are cogent positive reasons as well. and they too are about explanation, as I shall explain.